I was hauling chicken manure. Put the ugly bucket away. Hey garden friends, is that rose in the way? Let's move it. This is one of my Tess d'Iberville roses. This fall will get moved to the entrance of the secret cottage garden. So that'll be coming up in another video. But this is Rose Alley. This is doing gorgeous right now. And I had to share. This is the first week of August. Well, actually, this is like the 11th. So we're heading into the second week of August, and the roses are really putting on their second flush of blooms. So I wanted to share with you the changes I'm making, how I dig up things that are too big. They've become too big for their area and all of that. But I just wanted to share a little bit of the Rose Cottage Garden, how it's doing, Rose Alley, and how really I've extended it down to the entrance of the secret cottage garden. That's the beauty of gardening. You can change whatever you want to. If something's not doing it for you, not bringing you joy, or it's crowding out something else, it is so easy to just dig it up and put it somewhere else. Or if you don't want it anymore, you can pot it up and pass it on to friends. And that's what basically I'm going to do. Some of these daisies I am going to pot up. I'll dig them up, pile them up, and then I will go ahead and pot them. And then I will put something in its place. And we'll talk through some of those things. But first, let me get removing some daisies. So just so you know what I'm doing, I'm getting in here to dig up these daisies. And there's some over here as well. And I just need to get rid of them because I have another rose I want to put in here to climb this arbor. And they are in the way, and they get so tall that they obscure other roses. Now, I do have some iris in here I also need to remove, but I'm not going to worry about that today. Now, I have some pots that I'm going to pot these up into just to show you how you can do that. These ones were volunteers. I would probably just compost them, but I wanted to share with you how if you wanted to give some away or keep them over until you found another spot to put them in a container. So I'll set these aside and start digging. So I already had cut them back, deadheaded them, because I wanted not to necessarily get a rebloom. Let me see if there's any more buds on here. I don't see any, but just because I wanted to see what they were obscuring. Now I am very careful about my drip irrigation, and I've been asked to do a video on my drip irrigation, and that will be coming up soon. So just so you know. Okay, I get down underneath the roots and I just lift. I was going to share with you this shovel. I got this off Amazon 20 years ago, and it was a child's set that was real tools. It wasn't like plastic or anything like that, but real child-sized tools. And this shovel has been just tremendously helpful around the garden, especially for someone who's aging. And it helps protect my back because I can't pull up a big old chunk that's too heavy with this. That would make me overextend my back. So I've been digging and digging, trying to be real careful. I'm going to pull while I dig, and that will pull it up from the roots. Now, let me pull it up so you can see this root mass. Huge root mass. And then I'll point you down here and you can see where I got it, dig it up from. And I'm going to set it over here on the side. Also, do I have I got an iris in here too. I'll pull that out. Hear the logging truck going by? So here's an iris that was being swamped by it. So it's going to help this. I'll pot this up too to do better. Look, this one's all shriveled up, but it's got a little bit of baby over here. So I can pot these up as well. So I know it may be hard for you to see, and I've got to get rid of that hollyhock out of there, but you'll see there's just a bare patch right there. And yeah, this way there'll be more sun getting to that iris rhizome. I'm going to say rhizome because so many people get upset when I say rhizome. And yeah, so that is a perfect spot to put another rose. Now to climb this arbor. And over there is the rose, the New Dawn rose that does not perform very well for me. Maybe I should give it extra feed, pile some compost on it, chicken compost. Maybe it'll perform for me next year. I don't know, I don't get it. All my other roses in Rose Alley are doing beautiful, but that one just doesn't bloom. So now that I have it dug up, I'll just share with you how I divide them. So if I was going to divide this out, there's different clumps. You just can pull a clump and you can pull the roots apart. And you see there's a bunch of roots here on this piece of it. I will cut it back to probably 6 inches. And I'll put it in that pot. Now I could put a little more soil in there so it's taller. That gives it more room for the roots to reach down. You could even give it a little bit of a root trim. That won't hurt at all. It'll stimulate more root growth. Cutting off just a few of the leaves so it doesn't lose a lot of moisture with transpiration. But it's not, as long as you keep this moist, it's not going to be a big deal. So I'm just going to fill it up the rest of the way with this soil. And it's a very loose, well-draining soil. Oop, got earwigs coming out of this plant. And then I will just water it well and then set it in a pot so it can keep absorbing water for a while until it's well moistened. And there you have a brand new daisy that you can pot somewhere else once it takes root. You can also just pick up this whole piece and put it in another portion of the garden. And that's how you divide Shasta daisies. Super easy and fast. I'm going to go ahead and do a couple more in case somebody wants some of these. And one thing about it, once they get going, the seeds they produce will spread easily and you will have tons and tons of daisies forever and ever. There we go. All ready to roll. So this is the before I move this daisy from in front of the Zephrine Druan climbing rose. And then I'll share with you the after. I'm going to cut it back like I did the others, and then I'm going to dig it up and pot up some of them, because this is the one I really want to save that had the unusual petal shape. And I just love that unusual shape. Now, you don't have to cut it back. I just find that I can see towards the root area easier if I do. And it's just a quick step. I'm going to cut it back when I pot these up anyways. And so, like right here, I didn't realize I had a support here. This is just a piece of the remesh wire cut. This is a portion of leftover piece from other things that I used to prop up when it started leaning. So I do need to make a video on my little plant supports that are super easy. Now while I'm in here, even though this Patricia is blooming beautifully out here, I'm also going to prune back this. This is the Patricia Hardy geranium. Yes, I will lose some blooms right now that are beautiful, but my intent here right now is to dig out the daisies. I had thought of digging this out because it gets a little bit too aggressive here, or it wants to really come out this direction and swamp things. Can you see? Yeah, you can. And so I thought maybe it would be better further back, which that's an option. My tiny monster back there seems to do well in the back, makes a great ground cover. I do not weed this area because you can't see weeds, plus the weeds don't really get a foothold. So, because it's all shaded out from the tall plants. And that's the beauty of having what I call a cottage garden, my type of cottage garden, where the plants are so close together that they shade out weeds. Now I don't have bark mulch in here. When I do mulch, it's with a organic turkey compost, and that feeds the soil very well. and it's the dark color that just kind of fades into the background. And I get it in bulk, so it's much cheaper than buying bags of mulch. And I don't like buying bags because you got all those plastic bags to throw away. All right, this daisy, and here's another support back here that I need to pull up so I don't get my shovel tangled in it. Now, it looks like I'm being rough. That's okay. These plants can take it. They are tough plants, especially the daisies. Now, the way these daisies were spread, you'd think it was a much bigger plant, but it's all right here. All right there. Let me see. Yep, that one's coming from in there too. The stems were just splaying out so far from the center that it made it look like a much bigger plant than it was. So, okay, I've got that done. This is Sweet William. I'll throw that down in there to reseed. Okay, so there we have it. Now I'm going to get this dug up. I'm going to divide it like I did the last one and pot it up. I don't know where I'm going to put this. I may put it back in this area, but further back where it won't be hiding so much going that direction. And what I mean by is I could put something shorter here so you have another beautiful plant to enjoy. And all that. That's a California poppy back there. And it's kind of shading out these irises that really need the sunshine on their leaves to have good storage of energy for blooming next year. So that's a good one. That's another reason why I should move it back. It doesn't matter. I can move it back here. It would grow up in front of the rose where it doesn't bloom down here much. And so that would be a perfect place for it. I could enjoy my daisy, enjoy a shorter plant here. I could even put another rose right here, which would be fantastic. A fantastic idea since this is the Rose Cottage garden. There's so many roses I would like to try to grow that I just didn't have space for. And now if I do this, piece of a foxglove, then I could have another spot for a rose. So you see right here is the second test d'Iberville in all its beauty. These are the roses that I'm going to put over the arbor. I mentioned it in another video of the entrance to the secret cottage garden. And here's the first. They're in these barrels because I had to rescue them. I have a video of rescuing them. They were eaten to a nub, the roots, by gophers. And so I planted them in these. I seem to have a handle, or at least controlling the population of the gophers, but I always plant roses in cages, or try to. Look at, here's my Bosco Bell. These are beautiful. They have been putting out sporadic blooms since they started and doing just gorgeous. And look at this. This is a sweet pink lily. I'm going to do more lilies because they really add that element of scent this time of year. And the oriental, and there's also the trumpet lilies. So look at that. Isn't that beautiful? The Crocosmias are just about done. I would like to, I think, move them out of here, but I'm not certain yet. Now this hollyhock, my hollyhocks did terrible this year. I'm not sure why, but look at this one. Isn't that gorgeous? So I need to stake it up better. It's not staked up well. This is the native garden phlox. It does beautiful. I'm going to divide this and plant some more down here so I repeat the bloom through the garden. This nearly wild rose really took a hit early on in the summer from the rose weevils. I was able to spray it with an organic spray that just took care of those. And immediately I was surprised at how fast it worked. And then I was mad at myself for not doing it sooner because I put up with a lot of weevil damage in my early blooms. Now this is a Hyde Hall rose. I need to deadhead. It looks like it's got another bloom on it. And yeah, so here's the Crocosmias I really want to move. They always really flop over here. I try to support them, but I think they need another spot. So yeah, this is my tiny monster hardy geranium, and it really gets big. I mowed it down to like 6 inches. Maybe I should have mowed it to the ground, and it's getting tall again. So here's some more daisies. Now I haven't cut these out because they're on the edge of the garden, and even though they need deadheading, somehow they block the deer from getting in. I haven't noticed too many deer recently. For a couple of weeks, I saw a herd, a batch of bucks going through. And they had little forked horns with the velvet on them. But down here, this is all in flux. And I had popped some of those asters down here. Now these are the fuchsia pink ones. Everywhere else they flopped. I think they're doing so well here because they don't get a lot of water. So it might be the perfect spot for them. So yeah, this is, like I said, influx. I'm planting things. I have these left up here, even though they need deadheading for now, because the deer won't go past them. They don't like them. So they're kind of like a protective hedge. So right here is my quick fire fab panicle hydrangea. It's taken a little while to take off. This is the 3rd year and it's still quite diminutive, but it is pretty. Now I will probably, I said I was using these as a protective hedge. I may go ahead and trim them back and just spray the hydrangea. The deer love the high flowers of the hydrangea, and just spray it with the deer out, and that'll protect them. So that I could do that. Since I haven't been seeing them real thick, I don't think I'm going to have a super big problem. The Delphiniums are doing gorgeous. The bee balm, Monarda, I want to get the one that's lavender, but that is doing pretty good. I mean, starting to go over. I need to deadhead it. It will rebloom somewhat. So that's this side of the rose cottage garden. Look at this Roseanne geranium. I am going to plant it a little further down amongst the roses. It does a beautiful job of filling in around the roses, and it doesn't overtake them. So again, the tests, these are going to be moved this fall when it cools down a bit. And the Abraham Darby rose is just doing beautiful right here. I was going to take it out of the pot and replant it in the ground, but I'm afraid to move it. Maybe in the spring I could, not spring, but in the fall I can see better and see what I really want to do. Maybe I just leave it in there and keep it as is. It seems to be doing wonderful. This is Dreamweaver. It always performs very well through the summer with repeat blooms. And I'm going to show you this side over here. Now this is New Dawn. There's so many people that love New Dawn because of its consistent bloom and whatever. Do you see this? Nothing. Now this is the 2nd or 3rd year it's been here, and I don't know why it doesn't want to perform for me. It did the same up in the arbor where the Eden roses are, so I don't know. I will give it maybe 1 more year, and then it's out of here if it doesn't pick up its pace. And I can't say that it doesn't get enough sun, because it gets plenty of sun here. So down here you see the daisies I cut back. Those were all way tall and flopping over. I thought I had a video bit of that and I can't find it, but maybe I'll find it. Anyways, you'll see some others that'll give you an idea. Jupiter's Beard does beautiful. It keeps blooming. I think I'm going to move this phlox. It doesn't really perform that well here. So I might want to replace it or just put some more ground cover roses in. Now my Quicksilver, let me see. I think the blooms are, it's bloomed out, but I need to train this cane down over the arbor. Sometimes they get stiff and I have a hard time pulling them down. I should have done it sooner. But over here, Awakening. Awakening is a sport of New Dawn, except it holds its flowers longer. And for this one has bloomed and bloomed and bloomed. Rural England, you see how tiny these little flowers are, but it's just abundant. And you see all these ones up here, doing beautiful. The Limelight Prime, panicle hydrangeas back there. I'm going to keep it more, flatter against the wall. I'm not going to let it bush out too far. Down here is where I had considered putting my Coco Loco roses. And I'm rethinking that. I have another spot that I think they may end up going, which would be a better fit. So I have a space for maybe 2 roses here, and I want to see which ones are on my wish list. Back there, I just deadheaded the Joanne's Pink Perpetual and the Jasmina Climber. It's getting ready to reach for the trellis I have up there. Oh wait, I found a Quicksilver bloom that you can look at. I love the lavender, and this thing blooms all summer long. It doesn't stop, even if it has a few blooms. I just had deadheaded some of them, so that's why. Now looky here. This is some sweet peas I planted at the base. This is Royal Wedding, very heavily scented. So it's something that just adds another element to the garden, and it's so delicate. And it kind of just blends in until you're up close. I like those little, I don't know what you call them, elements where you have to get up close to notice, because in the overall scheme they kind of blend in, but they're like a little surprise. Now this is my Katie Saul Echinacea. This is a sterile hybrid that I have to divide to get more. It's time to deadhead. You see how these have faded out. And you cannot start this from seed. It will not come true from seed or even germinate. So down there, look at my Plum Perfect. I thought I had lost it. It was looking so sad. So I've been babying it, giving it the organic liquid fertilizer, all of those fun things, keeping it healthy, and look, it's blooming. Another Lavender Rose. So here is my Gertrude Jekyll. I'm trying to reach up slowly. There's a bee in here. Gertrude Jekyll, and it's got lots of flowers coming on. You can see some of the faded Quicksilver. Sorry if it's thrown into shadow. Now over here, there's this fun little surprise. This is Clematis. This is Jack Manny Eye. Let me see if I can pull the flower down so you can see it. Yep, that's beautiful Jack Manny Eye. And it's kind of sporadically bloomed off and on. The other one down here, I think I found the name for you once, and then I forgot what it was. But this one has been blooming consistently as well. I think some of mine got the wilt or a fungus because they look strange. I've never had that issue before. There's another of those hardy geraniums. That one's Tiny Monster. Now here is the area I wanted to share with you. See this? These daisies, they're gone to seed. And here they do have some little buds coming up. But this has gotten too big for this area. It's splaying out in the center. And so I need to dig them up. Now this is the one that had the very interesting petal shape. I do not want to get rid of it. I will divide it, obviously it needs dividing, pot it up, and then decide where I wish to place it, or some. And I may put one back in here because I did love it here. This one's getting too big and needs dividing. Now here's for me a dilemma. Now this is Zephrine Druan Climbing Rose. It's beautiful when it blooms in this early summer. But for me, it rarely reblooms very much. You notice it's just devoid of flowers. Now I did put a Pretty in Pink Eden in there with it, which you can see those big straight limbs coming up, and it's not blooming as much as I would have liked. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do here. I do love how the Zephrine is going all the way up. It is nearly thornless. I could thin it out and find another rose that blooms more frequently and add it to this side. That side has the Pretty in Pink. This side doesn't have anything. There is a clematis here, but I could put another rose that might just bloom more for me, even if I put another Dreamweaver over here to produce blooms. Even if there just was a few, I would be happy. Now I wanted to take you back over here. These lilies, these are Casablanca, doing gorgeous, love them, but look at my love song. Look at my love song rose. My mom first fell in love with this rose, and she purchased it, and it was by her back fence, her back gate, and just gorgeous. I nearly lost it. It doesn't like the cold, so I have to be very careful in cold winters to protect it. But look at that thing, it is just loaded with buds, and that lavender color is just so gorgeous. I'm loving that. It's in a barrel, so it's protected. Then look at Jubilee Celebration. Look at this thing. is so full. I do need to deadhead it, but this thing is like this all summer long. This one is a consistent bloomer, and yeah. And when I deadhead, I'm going to share with you something nifty that you will find so fun to do. And it's super easy for everyone. Now that is my Rainstay Violets. It's a vintage rose. I need to deadhead it, train it around the obelisk, because it is a climber. It will climb. And right up there is, the hummingbirds love to sit on these obelisks. And yeah, I could put another climbing rose at the base and train it around it. But yeah, down here I have Baby Blanket, ground cover rose. And there's another one in here. I can't remember the name of it. I'll have to look it up from a past rose video when I put it in. But look, you know, Eden, it is just, you can't go wrong with Eden Rose. Now, this one is the one I keep telling you I'm going to take out. It's a little rambunctious for this area. And I could put it over there with Zephrine, and maybe it would be the one to bring blooms. So over here is my Crown Princess Margaretta. Just look at that. That's a whole bouquet on one stem, one cane. And that has just been blooming. This has been the best year yet for blooms with that one. So it's a winner in my garden. Trying to make sure I'm not missing anything. Now down here, the Nepeta needs to be pruned back, but it's getting swamped by, this is Patricia hardy geranium. Getting swamped by that. So I need to do a little maintenance on these down here. And this one's probably big enough I can divide it and then put more. I have some on this side over here, and just put more in along the edge. I like them along the edge. Okay, you can see my camera, and then the roses from here. Isn't this gorgeous? This is what my rose cottage garden is all about. I just love all the roses. I'm always trying to find more that repeat bloom frequently. Somebody told me about raspberry twirl. I'm definitely going to get that one. I have a blue one, rainy blue, that I'm going to put in. Look at this. This is Safari. I just love this color, don't you? This one is gorgeous. Been doing well. Here, it's in a cage. Here is my Mystic Spire Salvia. It's getting going finally. It takes a while for me to get it going here. We have had such cool nights this summer. But look at that. Now this is the clematis. It's usually a wall of purple. You see all the seed heads. If I would have deadheaded those sooner, I probably would be getting more blooms back. But I haven't had a chance. I'll share with you in a minute what has been taking up my time. There's my Grandpa Newt rose. It needs some deadheading. That also blooms throughout the season. That is one I have had a tough time propagating. Some roses will root real easy, and others seem to be a little more challenging. Now this is a new one here. This is Florentina. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? And I thought the Grandpa Newt rose was really red. Look at it compared. It's more of a fuchsia when you compare it to this. But this is a climber, an arbor rose. It's in the same family, or it was from the same breeder as the Quicksilver and the Jasmina and others that I have. Look, down there's another one of it. So my Queen of Sweden is budded up, lots of buds, and some of them are over my head. So I was thinking of getting another obelisk here and train it around it as best I could, so I get to see the blooms better. So this one is a vintage rose. It was a found rose in Texas by the highway. It is called Pam's Pink. And so I had to have it. Now it struggles with disease and whatever, but I still love it. And down here, look at my blue star creeper I planted along here. I just am loving that. Forgive the pot there. I had something in it. Okay. So down here is some alyssum that came back. I wanted to share with you. This is my Sunblaze Salmon. This thing does bloom, bloom, and bloom. I'm loving the Sunblaze series. There's different colors. And look at this one. This is dragon fruit. Sunblaze Rose. Isn't that gorgeous? Now this one stays shorter than this one. Now I'm thinking I'm gonna cut this one down hard next spring, and maybe I can get it to stay shorter too. I love, the blooms, and it's still in, below my eye level, so that I don't have to look up to see it. But I thought maybe I'd like to keep it shorter like this one. Okay, my dahlias. Look at my dahlias coming up. Yes, they are planted in pots to protect them from the gophers. And I said before I had the bucket, and that's, you see, I put the chicken litter around. Look at this. This is Cerise Queen Yarrow. In here, lots of native echinacea. The blue delphiniums from this side. And look, some of my morning glories came back. They seeded themselves. I'm happy with that. That color does not become bully here, so I'm not worried about it becoming invasive. As you see down here, there's a bunch more daisies I cut back because it's gotten too big, was splaying in the center, needed a dividing, and it was obscuring my roses. So this is now where I'm thinking of putting my Coco Loco roses. And I think they will be a great complement to the Love Song Rose. They're supposed to get 3 to 4 feet tall, so I think they will be perfect right here. I do have to get some more cages or make some more, I almost said tomato cage, rose cages so the gophers can't eat them. Or I do have more containers like that. I probably could put that there and then plant them in it. But I think that would obscure this rose on this arbor or obelisk. So that, my friends, is the majority of the Rose Cottage garden. And yeah, I'll turn around and we'll go down. I was going to show someone, someone asked me if I had aconite. And yes, I do. I pulled out a bunch of it because it just got too big, but this is Monk's Hood, aka aconite. This is a bicolor one. Many of them are pure purple and not bicolored, but yeah, highly toxic, but I've had no problem with it. And I don't eat it. So that's it. Oh, where's my kitty over there? I don't know what she's doing. Where are you coming, Rachel? Are you hunting? So this is the arbor that goes into the secret cottage garden that I'm going to put the test d'Iberville roses on. I think the red roses climbing over that will just be gorgeous. So yes, I have lots of things stacked everywhere because the greenhouse got turned into the chicken house, and my other greenhouse has not yet been erected, but that's in the works. So look at this rose. I had thought of propagating this rose because this one also just blooms nonstop to put there with my Zephrine, and that way it could be blooming. So this is beside the studio cottage. I call it Primrose Cottage. And yeah, this has some beautiful roses in it too. Here is Aloha, and I've got to get the trellis made for it. And then, oh, look at this, is one of my dahlias. I think this is David Howard. And down here, I plopped this rose down here. I think it's Strawberry Hill, but I'm not certain. Because some were struggling and I just hurried and put them in the ground. There's some purple Rooster Monarda. And this is, I think, Noble Antony. This is a David Austin rose. And this thing just blooms beautifully too. So I need to take cuttings of it. So here are the things that I make plant supports out of, and I haven't gotten that made for you, that video yet. I do have another video already made of how I make them. I just was going to redo it and hopefully make it a little better. Oh, I didn't share with you my test rose really quick. Look at this, is my, not test rose, what am I saying? Demi-tasse is what it's called. Demi-tasse. And this also blooms nonstop. I could take a cutting of this and put it in front of Zephrine. At least there would be color there. That would be gorgeous. It needs a bit of deadheading. We've had a hot week. This likes a little cooler spot, like a little afternoon shade. And over there by the Zephrine, I think that would get it. So I think that may be an option too. Back here is where I had planted my blue and white garden, and it didn't work. So everything flopped. So we put this big raised bed back here, and we're filling it. And look at those salvias down there. I grew those from seed. I need to transplant them. Just a minute. Let's move this way. Oh, I was going to capture that hummingbird for you. Okay, so yeah, the bachelor buttons are doing beautiful back here. I'm going to collect the seed. So that, my friends, you can see what the gophers do to my hollyhock. See that? They've eaten on the roots. And these two as well, you see how they're dying? That's because the gophers have eaten the roots. So the gophers are real thick through here. And yeah, so I've been putting things in the ground. I've seen the dahlias. I plant them in the pots in the ground. I had so many dahlias this year, I had to just poke them wherever I could find a spot. So there's a bunch of the geraniums. These are the zonal geraniums that I propagated from seed. Propagated from cuttings, many of them. Some were from seed, like this orange one was from seed, and I need to deadhead it. But, alrighty, friends. Okay, I was going to share with you what's happening. Let's go on back. So, back here, you see that? I know it looks like a little bit of a mess. It is a mess. It doesn't just look like it. But we had to put shade cloth up for the chicken pen. And then the greenhouse has been turned into the chicken house. And then down here is where my new greenhouse is going. That is where the chicken pen was. And that is what has been taking up so much of my time. And over here, we'll peek in at the chickens. Hey, girls. This is another section, and it's not in the rose alley, but this is my Lady of Shellot rose. It's just gorgeous. My roses this year, not only have we had a little bit of a cooler summer, but I've been consistently feeding them with the eco-organic fertilizer. So I think that consistent feed, which is maybe every other week with it, has helped them to keep blooming. I know they've done much better this year than they have in the last couple of years as far as consistent blooming, especially this one, especially the ones in the containers. So, little tip there. So, garden friends, don't you love the Rose Alley? This has been such a success for me. It has exceeded my expectations when I started. All of the roses, they are just doing gorgeous. After the first huge flush of blooms, there's a little lull where you're getting sparse blooms, but you're still getting some blooms. And you can take note of what's working where, what may not be working for you, what you may want to move, or like me with the Eden rose here. I thought that was the pretty and pink Eden, so it was a dark fuchsia color. It was different than normal Eden. Normal Eden is beautiful, but I wanted something different there. And it has become a bully. It has just overswamped everything else. Now the Albertine rose on there, the arbor with it, only blooms the one time in summer, and it's just a beautiful bloomer, and I wanted it. It's a vintage rose. So yeah, you just think about that. The Eden will come out. I can put it somewhere else. I have a spot back here in the corner that has absolutely nothing in it. In fact, you can't see it. It was obscured by all the other plants. But yeah, there's a whole big area. I could put another climbing rose, which since this is Rose Alley, that's probably what's preferred. And there's so many roses out there. I just don't have room for them all. And so I'm going to replace, like the New Dawn. It's just not performing for me. I can give it to someone else and maybe it will like their conditions better and will do better. And it's not a waste. It's just, so many people just love it. And I had tried it before and it didn't perform well for me. And I thought, well, maybe this is a different spot. Maybe it was just where it was at. Obviously it doesn't like it here. So that's going to be a gift to someone. And all of that. And that way I can try a new rose, a new to me rose that may just knock my socks off. Like I have mentioned it before, the Arbor Rose series. Arbor Roses is a brand name. I think they're bred by Cordes, Kordes. And I have Jasmina, I have Tangerine Skies, I have the Quicksilver, I had the wedding one, Honeymoon, I think it was Honeymoon something, it was white. It got spider mites and I didn't catch it before it killed it. But yeah, and I have the Florentina. All of them have impressed me, especially with their cold tolerance. You can get roses that tolerate cold, and our winters are cold, but what is really gets the roses, and this is why I buy own root roses, is we have late hard freezes. We'll have a warm spell. The hummingbirds are distracting me. We have a warm spell, everything starts leafing out, and then we'll get a hard freeze, like drop to 20 degrees overnight, and it really can zap back the plants. Now the arbor roses, they just fly right through that. Now my Colette rose and other roses, many of my David Austin roses really hate that. So it sets them back like 5 weeks because it'll fry all the buds. So find what works for you. What works for me may not work for you, but it's worth giving it a shot. So, and try, always experiment, find out what works with you. I have arid conditions, so I don't deal a lot with powdery mildew, but I do spray with a neem oil. If I see one starting to get it, like I know my Pam's Pink that I shared with you, it gets diseases very easy. So I keep up a regimen of spraying it with neem oil. This year I haven't because I've been so busy, but normally I do. I'm very careful when I spray it because neem oil, if you get it on beneficials, it also harms those. So anyways, that is my rose cottage garden and my nifty trick for propagating more. That is so easy, and what makes it fun is you won't confuse them with other roses. Sometimes when I put them in containers, I forget to label them well, and then, or the label gets lost or something. So I don't know exactly which one it is. I have several roses cutting started. I don't know what they are. But this way, you know exactly what the plant is. So I'll see you in my next video. Bye.